In case you were wondering, this is why I needed a taller tomato trellis. This is about, I'd say, almost 7 feet up. So, yeah, good times. Today I thought we'd do some gardening stuff together, and I would tell you about some things that have been going on recently in the garden, and also share a fun story about something that happened to me on Friday. So today is Sunday, just for the record. All right, so let's see. First thing I need to do is I need to secure some of this stuff a little better, because this isn't going to work. To do that, I'm using tomato clips. It's kind of that one. That one's good. This one actually is good. It just doesn't look it. That one's free hanging. I don't like that. This one needs secured as well. Let's do that. That one's good. I know this looks ridiculous right here, but it does work. And let's see. I'm going to do this one on the end that is huge. You do not need another sucker. You are big enough. Given the weight of that one, I am actually going to hit this twice. 2 clips. It's kind of help. You do not need more suckers above my eye level. Come on. Plant is huge. It's a sun peach variety. And it's a bit of a biggie boy. All right. That looks a bit better. Yeah, and as you can see, these plants are pretty big. Do a bit of a progress shot here on the so-called flower Thunderdome. Let me just adjust a few things. All right, so yeah, the flower Thunderdome is doing well. That's got all sorts of plants in it. The bees love this. The plants that are in it are wasabi arugula, sweet alyssum, spinach, specifically the space cultivar, borage, queen lime zinnias are in there, but I don't think any of those made it past the initial culling where the plants choked each other out. I think these frilly things right here are Delft Blue Nigella, but I could be wrong because they haven't bloomed yet, and those blooms don't look like they're going to be blue. So that's probably not correct. Maybe that's the calendula. I don't know. We'll find out. This is just an experiment. I decided to throw a bunch of flower seeds in this little planter and see what happened. So this is what's happening. Interesting. So this is Solanum atripurpureum, my single seed challenge plant. It's now, let's see, if we're counting the pot to the height of the top of the plant, it's about 3.5 to almost 4 feet tall. But the reason I am excited to show you this to you, other than the plant's doing pretty well, is this right here. We've got flowers forming. I didn't think we would get flowers on this plant because I thought that was a second year sort of thing. This is technically a perennial, a very short-lived perennial. It only lives for about 3 years. And yeah, this one's already happy getting covered with flowers. So we're not only going to get to see this bloom, we might even get to see it fruit. So that's pretty exciting. Also, just for scale, ow, ooh, that hurt. Ow. That might get irritated. Anyway, just for scale, there are the spikes. They're flipping huge. That really hurt. Ow. Anyway, cool. Also, this looks like it could use a little bit of a water. One of the things I'm doing out here today is watering. Can't forget to harvest that guy today. A fairly good sized striped zucchini. Hopefully that'll be stable. All right, so story time with John. Actually. So one of the other fun things I've recently done is I got rid of a mealy bug infestation on my apple trees. That's been something I've been fighting for a few weeks now. I used BT just because that's what I had, and I don't know if that actually did it or not. It could have just been that I was spraying the bugs off, honestly. Also, on top of that, the ladybugs that I distributed are still hanging around, and there were larvae present there eating the bugs, so it could just be that the ladybugs wiped them out. I'm not really sure what the reason is, and I'm not convinced that BT works on non-caterpillars, so yeah, I just tried it because the theory behind the way BT works, as far as I understand it anyway, is that it is a bacteria that builds up inside things that chew on plants. So that's how they get it into their system, and then they can't get rid of it, and it slowly kind of kills them. It's not terribly slowly either. It takes like a day. So yeah, I don't know if that also impacts beetles. I'm not under the understanding that it does, mind you. It was just something I thought to try, and it seems to have helped, but again, could just totally be the ladybugs. Could be that I was just manually removing them faster than they were able to multiply too. Probably a combination of all three things, actually. Anyway, so that seemed to work. Those all three trees are free of that infestation now. Only one, really, the Granny Smith, seemed to get it the worst. The pink lady had it a little bit, and the Franklin cider didn't get it at all, which I thought was interesting. Also, because the Franklin cider is the most stressed out of the three trees, being the one that the deer chewed on and stunted. So it's a good 1.5 feet shorter than the other two now. Everybody else is, or I should say, not everybody else. There's only 3 trees, right? So the other 2 trees are about 6 feet tall now. They started the season at about 3.5. So they're doing pretty well. I did a little bit of summer pruning just to kind of keep certain limbs dominant and other limbs from being dominant. So that's been working out well so far. It's going to be easier to tell once the leaves fall off. It's not like there's a lot, but you know, I don't know. I'm not a mastered orchardist by any means, but I have looked into a lot of this. So I wanted to give it a try, and so far I think it's doing pretty well. One thing that I am a little puzzled by is that the pink lady tree is very wobbly. It's a wiggly tree. The stem or trunk, I guess, would be the more appropriate term, is just not strong. So during a recent rainstorm, I looked out into the backyard and saw the tree was almost lying down all the way. Now, mind you, you would think, oh, the roots aren't connected very well. That's why the tree is leaning over. That's not the case. The roots did not lean at all. The trunk came up out of the ground pretty much straight up. It had a little bit of a natural lean in one direction. So it was like coming up like this, right? And then it just went right over. So anyway, I have that cage now. I had it staked, but the stake was pretty low. So now it's caged with a support in the cage. And that's also helping train one of the branches. So hopefully that'll do it. I mean, the tree itself is only like this wide. So it being in the cage is fine. I can just cut the cage off later. It won't be a problem. The other two are not wiggly like that. So I don't know if maybe that variety, the stem just takes longer to harden or stiffen up. I have no idea. I'll report more on that later as that develops. Let's see, what else? Planted 2 new blueberry bushes to go with the others. So now we have, earlier in the year, I had planted 2 Patriot blueberry bushes. These are the ones that I had brought from the shed where it was 80 degrees to plant them on a day where it was going to dip into freezing like an idiot, like the big dumb stupid face that I am. And the plants immediately flipped out. They were very stressed, lost almost all of their leaves. What didn't get lost turned bright red. The plants kind of stopped doing anything for almost a month. Interestingly, they still set fruit. When this happened, they had just a few little tiny flowers. I thought they were going to fall off, and they didn't. Anyway, that fruit recently ripened, and it was extremely tart and extremely small, which makes sense because the plant was stunted while fruit was developing. But overall, the plants, those 2 look great now. They're about this tall. They were about that tall when I put them outside. They're spreading limbs and doing well. So I figured, you know what? I'm doing all right with these now that I'm not planting them like a big dumb stupid face. So I'm going to get 2 more. So now I went with a couple of early blues and also decided, since cranberries make a good partner to plant with blueberries, since they like basically the exact same conditions, and the cranberry plants only get about this tall, I can plant cranberry plants around the blueberries, and then the blueberries themselves will be the big tall guys. And that seems to be working out pretty well so far. I mean, they've only been in the ground for maybe a week, so hard to tell. We'll see, in a month or so how these plants look. And we'll cover that then. So I have high hopes. We were able to harvest some of the pink champagne currants. The plants, these ones right behind me here, they didn't make very many, but that's because this is their first year being completely in the ground. I planted them last September. So they fruit on old wood. So they flower and fruit on old wood. I did not know that. So it's a good thing I didn't vigorously prune them or anything, since I planted them pretty late in the season. So yeah, they got planted. They fruited in, I want to say, the berries were ripening through June. So the fruit was set May, maybe late April, something like that. I saw the flowers in April anyway. So the fruit was set and ripened by June, or late June. And get off me, bug. Come on. Anyway, the fruit was set, and then it ripened in late June, and tasted pretty good. Tasted good. I didn't realize they had so many seeds, but overall the flavor's good, and that is the important bit. I can deal with the seeds. They're still edible. It's just kind of like having, think of like a raspberry, but with twice as many seeds in it. And the flavor is not like a raspberry. I mean, texture-wise of eating it, it's sort of like a raspberry. Not really. Think like if a blueberry had a bunch of raspberry seeds in it. That's sort of the texture. But anyway, they're pretty good. They taste like, kind of like a grape mixed with, like a white grape mixed with raspberry. They're very tart, not terribly astringent. I like them. Sweet. So, yeah. One other interesting development before we get to story time. I am pretty sure I saw a velvet ant in the garden. If you are not familiar with a velvet ant, it is generally seen more in the south. They're referred to as cow killers. And they're not ants at all. They're actually a species of wasp. The males have wings. The females don't. The males cannot sting. The females can. And other than that, they look a bit like black and red fuzzy wasps, I guess is the best way to put it. The females look like big red and black ants. And I should say black and red. They're predominantly black. So think of like a big black ant, like this big, right? Huge. This would be a huge ant, but think of it like this big. And they have a bright red band somewhere around the middle. It's a little further down their abdomen, but yeah. Anyway, the reason that this is important, and the reason why it has me a little intimidated to be out here in sandals, honestly, but I am, because it's hot. is that, as I said before, they're called cow killers. And they're called cow killers because they have, if I remember correctly, the third most painful sting out of everything that can sting you. Which that's, in my opinion, that is saying something significant. I don't want to mess with these things. I saw it. I'm like, that can't be what I think it is. I took a really good look at it, though, before I backed away in terror. Then I backed away in terror and went inside and confirmed what my suspicions were. And unfortunately, it was over by the brassicas. It was just hanging out. It was a male, just flying around, doing its thing. It wasn't aggressive. It just, you know, where there's a male, there's probably females, and that's got me a little intimidated. Again, they don't fly. The females don't. They tend to make their nests in the burrows of other wasps. So think like cicada killers. That would be the big one in this area, which again, Northwest Ohio. Cicada killers would be the big one that's in ground that they would prefer, because these are wasps that prey on other wasps. And so they'll go in, they'll break into the brood chamber that the cicada killer has created. They will lay an egg on the baby wasp that is in that chamber, and then that egg will hatch, kill the baby wasp, and become more velvet ants. So, isn't nature great? Cool. So if you see anything like that, run away. If you see anything like that, just be aware they're specifically black and red. There are no other colors on them. There is a species of bumblebee that looks a little similar from a distance, but they have gold on them as well. So that's the red-tailed bumblebee. They're fun because they have little red butts. Sometimes it's orange. But yeah, that's what you're looking for as the danger sign here, is the big red or orangish band, and then just black on either side of it. There is a type of mason wasp that looks like this as well, that is also not aggressive. And the sting on that is, I don't know where it ranks. It's not third highest, so, you know. But those are also not that far north. Not this far north, I should say. I looked into that extensively, and the only thing that had a range that was sort of close was the velvet ant. But also, this thing looked just like the pictures that I was able to find. So, from an identification standpoint, I think that this is definitely a velvet ant, and that's not good. So just, you know, be aware. Don't handle these things. Don't pick them up, because that would be a bad time. Anyway, story time with John. So, on Friday, we were going to have some friends over to grill out. And it was going to be fine. We had friends over, hang out, have some nice shish kebabs. And my wife is vegan, so we were doing like Beyond Burger patties, which actually that turned out pretty well. Those were good. I like those more than the shish kebabs, I think. So, anyway, getting off topic. About 4 p.m. came around. Now, mind you, I've been on vacation for the last week, and I'm thinking, the friends are going to come over after they get off work at 5. So I should probably take a shower, get ready, that kind of thing. Cool. I'm heading towards the bathroom, and I see, near the front of the house, in the living room, our carpet spot cleaner. And my wife has been requesting that I clean the spot cleaner out and refill the cleaning solution reservoir so that it's ready to get used some more. Cool, whatever. I'd agreed to do it, no problem. But here's the thing, it's one of those out of sight, out of mind sort of things. Every time I stopped looking at it, I stopped thinking about it as a chore. And yeah. So I thought to myself, why don't I knock out 2 birds, 1 stone here? I'll get this done, get it put away, and then I don't have to worry about it being available, like right in sight when friends come over, that sort of thing. And then it gets it done, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. Cool. So, all right. Everything's unplugged. That's good. I grabbed the clean water reservoir first. This may have been my fatal mistake, but not fatal, nearly fatal mistake. Anyway, I grabbed the clean water reservoir first, and to take it out, you have to grab it. This is a green machine, so you grab it and you pull it up, and then it's kind of like a teardrop shape that's flat on one side and flat on the bottom, and it's got like a little nozzle on the bottom where it can I don't know if it injects or inserts, whatever. The solution comes through that nozzle. But in order to put more solution in, you have to flip this thing over, unscrew it, take the nozzle off, put more solution inside, mix everything up real nice, close it, put it back down, put it back together, connect it again. It's fine. It takes like 2 seconds. Well, no, it takes like 2 minutes to do, but this would not have been a problem. And it wasn't. I did it flawlessly. Well, I won't say flawlessly. I put a little too much cleaning solution in. I always put too much cleaning solution in. It wasn't really on purpose. I didn't see the little line until it was well past time to stop putting it in. And it's whatever. I just put a little extra water in. It's fine. No problem. Everything's screwed together. It works fine. Plugged it in. Well, not plugged it in, but I mean connected it again. And then, it seats. It's good. So then I go, okay, time to clean out the dirty side. Now, we use this tool primarily to take care of cat yak, among other things that cats may do to remove unwanted substances from their bodies on carpet. We'll just put it that way. I'm talking about cat poop. So dogs do that too. Not really a cat-specific thing. Anyway, the whole butt scratching on the carpet thing. So we use this tool to get rid of this. And that's fine. It works great for that. But it's just so you know what's in the water. Because that's important. So anyway, I go and I take the thing out. And I'm like, okay, cool. I flip it over to unscrew the bottom. And that's when I realized I just poured the entire contents of this thing onto my leg and onto the floor and onto the, we have like a movable carpet in the entryway. And it was just all over, all of these things. And my wife described the smell as something akin to sulfur water diarrhea, which is just unique. It was not a good time. Most of it hit the hardwood floor, and it's just sitting there getting gross, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh no, it's all over my leg. Thankfully, I was just wearing shorts and a shirt, so it's not like I had socks or shoes on or anything. So I was like, okay, well, I'll go rinse off my leg, and then I got to take care of this mess. So I ran into the bathroom, rinsed my leg off. That's fine. Then I'm going to look for a mop to get rid of the stuff that's on the hardwood, because I can't even move the carpet until I can get to the carpet, and I can't get to the carpet because of the ocean of ick that is just all over the floor. So cool, I'm looking for the mop. I look in the upstairs closet where we keep such things, those cleaning supplies. No mop. All right. That means the mop's in the basement. That's where we keep the rest of the cleaning supplies. And we've been doing some renovation work in the basement recently, so it makes sense that the mop would be down there. So I run downstairs, and I'm looking for the mop. I look over here, there's no mop. And I look over here, and there's no mop. As an aside, we have boiler heat. The boiler feeds baseboard radiators that are located all over the house via copper pipes that are drilled up through holes in the floor. They're inserted and installed that way. Everything's all welded together. This becomes very important for this next part. So I look over here, no mop. Look over here, no mop. Okay. And I turn and I run across the basement to the other spot where the mop might be. And I don't see the puddle that is formed on the ground in front of me in time, and I step in it barefoot, slide 1.5 feet forward, don't lose my balance, thankfully. So I just did just slid across the floor and then stopped directly under the rain of this stuff coming down through one of these holes, for the baseboard radiator, and it starts raining on the back of my head. At that point, I'm pretty sure my wife just heard me go, "Ah!" in frustration. And then I found the mop because it was like right there. And then I just dejectedly went upstairs and took care of my horrible, horrible mess. And it was awful. And so that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Until we talk again. Good afternoon, everybody. No. There's the sassafras tree. Okay, that makes sense. I'm like, why do we have... Anyway. Good afternoon, folks. It's always hard. Good afternoon, everybody. In case you were wondering, this is why I needed a taller tomato trellis. This is the old one. I'm about 5'10". As you can see, these are, I don't know, 7 feet tall. 6 if you, no, less than 6. No, more than 6, yeah. Today I thought I would share something that happened recently. That sounded weird. I'm going to try that again.